Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Now that most of the key free agents have signed, we're going to be going over my winners and losers from free agency. Starting off with the winners, and these are in no particular order. The first winner is Caleb Williams and the Bears offensive line. Caleb Williams was sacked a league high 68 times as a rookie, but the Bears they made some great moves to make sure that wouldn't happen again. They started by trading a sixth-round pick to the Rams for Jonah Jackson, and he's familiar with the Bears' new head coach and Ben Johnson because the two spent a few years together in Detroit. Then the Bears traded a fourth-round pick next year to the Chiefs for Joe Thuney, which is an absolute steal. And then finally, they signed center Drew Dahlman to a 3-year, $42 million contract. But the Bears, they really improved the interior of the offensive line, and they're definitely looking to make sure Caleb Williams isn't sacked nearly 70 times next season. The next winner is the Broncos. The Broncos, they needed a tight end. They signed Evan Ingram, and he's going off a year where he played just 9 games, but the year before that, he was great with 963 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then the Broncos, they made an already great defense even better while signing a couple of 49ers, as they signed safety Tuan Hufanga to a 3-year, $45 million contract and linebacker Dre Greenlaw to a 3-year, $35 million contract. Now, both those players are coming off pretty big injuries, but I still like both moves for the Broncos. As Hufanga only played 7 games this past year and 10 games the year before because of a torn ACL, but in his last fully healthy season in 2022, he was a first-team All-Pro. And then for Dre Greenlaw, he was recovering from a torn Achilles he suffered in the Super Bowl, and he only played 2 games this past year, but I'm a really big Dre Greenlaw fan, and I think he's one of the more underrated linebackers in the NFL. The next winner is Justin Fields. So Justin Fields is the winner because he signed with the Jets on a 2-year, $40 million contract that includes $30 million guaranteed. And Fields is also likely going to be the unquestioned starter. Now, the reason I have Justin Fields as the winner is I think he's getting paid a lot of money and doesn't deserve this contract. Now, Justin Fields, he's been decent, but I wouldn't have given Justin Fields longer than a year or more than about $15 million. I would have given him a prove-it 1-year deal similar to what the Vikings gave Sam Darnold before the start of this past season. He got a 1-year, $10 million contract. Now, I do think Justin Fields should have gotten a little bit more because Fields was better than Darnold prior to this past season, but I don't like Justin Fields getting a multi-year deal, although big winner for Justin Fields with $30 million guaranteed. Next winner is the Commanders. So the Commanders, they had a really good offseason so far. They re-signed some key pieces like Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner. They also traded for Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil. They traded just a 5th-round pick for Deebo Samuel, and even though he wasn't great this past year, with just 670 yards and 3 touchdowns in 15 games, I still think this is a good move for the Commanders because it's still an upgrade over whoever their wide receiver 2 was, plus Deebo should be very effective in their screen-heavy offense. And then for Laramie Tunsil, he is one of the better left tackles in the NFL. Does get penalized a lot, but still a good player. Of the Commanders, they did give up a decent amount of picks for him, as they gave up a 3rd and a 7th this year, along with a 2nd and 4th next year, but I still think it's worth it. But the Commanders made some nice moves, re-signing key players, good trades, and they're a big winner. Our final winner is the Patriots defense. The Patriots, they made some really nice moves along the defensive side of the ball. They signed a couple of pass rushers in Milton Williams and Harold Landry. I've seen some people say Harold Landry isn't the best signing because they're giving him a lot of money. But I mean, the Patriots, they've got a lot of money to spend, so I don't think it's terrible. They also signed linebacker Robert Spillane and corner Carlton Davis. Now, some of those players are a little bit older, but the Patriots, they still brought in some good defensive players that should be able to make an impact right away. Moving on to my losers. The first loser is the 49ers. They're a major loser. They lost a ton of players and didn't really do a ton to replace them. They traded away Deebo Samuel for a 5th-round pick. They cut Kyle Juszczyk, and they lost the following players in free agency. Cornerback Charvarius Ward, linebacker Dre Greenlaw, safety Tuono Hufanga, running back Elijah Mitchell, offensive tackle Jalen Moore, and offensive lineman Aaron Banks. And as far as what the 49ers signed to help replace them, it's not much. Their most notable signing is either Demarcus Robinson or Mac Jones. But the 49ers lost a lot of key players on their roster, a huge loser here in free agency. The next loser is CJ Stroud. Mainly because he already had no offensive line, but now he really has no offensive line. The Texans, they traded away Laramie Tunsil and Kenyon Green, plus they cut Shaq Mason. They did bring in a couple of linemen, as they traded for Ed Ingram, who was solid, plus they signed Laken Tomlinson, although he's 33 and hasn't started the game since 2023. But the Texans, they're making moves along the offensive line, but it still doesn't look too good, and not looking too great for CJ Stroud, who's got to stand behind them. The next loser is the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they're a loser because, much like last offseason, they didn't do much. They were a little bit more active in free agency this year than last year, but their biggest move was signing Javonte Williams, who ran for 500 yards this past year. They also traded for former first round pick Kaiir Elam, although he's not very good. But Cowboys, pretty big loser. And our final loser is the Bengals. They haven't done a ton outside of re signing defensive tackle BJ Hill. They might trade Trey Hendrickson, and the price to extend Jamar Chase likely went up. So, not a good offseason so far for the Bengals. But those are my winners and losers of NFL free agency, at least so far. Still waiting for players to sign like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Sure hope the Giants get Rodgers. But those are my winners and losers of free agency. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you next video.